back to the Library Mouse, and if you're new here, welcome. Hopefully you like it enough to stick around and subscribe and comment and like. But here we are. I can't believe that it is the end of July and the beginning of August already. I thought that I would do a nice little summary vlog and take you along with me while I do some reading and some library hopping. I'm hoping in this vlog to get to another independent bookstore and hit up a couple free little libraries this week. So that is on my agenda. I also want to share the latest books that I got from the library, and they are going on my TBR list. So let me grab them really quick. Okay, got my library books. Also being joined by Huckleberry. Hopefully she will not knock my camera over. But if you watched my last video, I talked about wanting to read in certain categories this month, categories that I've made up on my own. And a couple of them were I wanted to read a favorite book from my childhood, a chapter book. So I did get one on my Kindle from the New York Public Library, and I'm going to be reading All of a Kind Family Downtown. I think that's what it is. I'll pop the book up here. I think it's either Uptown or Downtown. So when I was a kid, I loved reading the All of a Kind Family series. It was about a Jewish family who lived in New York City around the turn of the century. They had a family of girls, and I loved it. I loved old-fashioned books. I always thought that I wanted to live in the olden days, and it was a favorite of mine. I have not read them since I was a kid, so I thought it would be a little nostalgic to read them. So I did get All of a Kind Family from the library. I also gave myself a goal to read a nonfiction book. So I'm actually working right here on the Blue Zones. So the Blue Zone is an area where they have more people who live to be 100 than other areas. And this researcher went and visited and interviewed people in each of those blue zones that live to be 100 or more, and they are amazing. The amount of energy and vitality these 100-year-olds have just floors me, and the book is very good. So I'm working on that book right now. So I'm going to consider that my nonfiction book. If I happen to finish that one, I do have this book I'm still working on, and I found that this book, it's The Way of the Wild Soul Woman, 5 Earth Archetypes to Unleash Your Full Feminine Power. It takes time to get through. It is a lot of thinking, and there's a lot of journaling prompts. Very quickly, it's written by Mary Reynolds Thompson, a favorite of mine. Follow her on Instagram. She's very cool. But they talk about the different types of women, the earth archetypes: desert, forest, ocean, river woman, a mountain woman, grassland woman, and what you can learn from each of those environments. It's interesting. It's a very interesting book. It is a book that you're not just reading, like you're really doing the work in this book. So that's why it's taking longer. So that was my childhood and nonfiction. Then I wanted to read a classic. So I have picked up Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I don't know why I have never read Jane Austen. So I loved Louisa May Alcott. I loved Bronte sisters. I loved Wuthering Heights. Jane Eyre, I loved. I've never read this. So I'm going to start it. I'm going to see how I like it. So this is I know my daughter-in-law is a librarian, and this is her favorite book. So this is going to be my classic pick for this month. So, and then I got a couple of other books from the library I thought sounded very good. So this book is by Mitchel, and it is called The Islanders. And it looks like, I don't know if it's suspense or just, it says, over 12 short weeks of summer, 3 strangers will meet and grow close, share secrets, and bury lies. And as the promise of June turns into the chilly nights of August, the truth will come out, forcing each of them to decide what they value most and what they are willing to give up to keep it. I don't know. It takes place on Block Island. We'll see. The 3 people in the book are one famous writer hiding from a big mistake, a bakery owner with off-island competition, and a stay-at-home mom with a secret job. And then I got this book, Mrs. Everything. So this is Joe and Bethy Kaufman grew up in 1950s Detroit. They had the perfect Dick and Jane house. Their roles in the family are clearly defined. Joe is the tomboy, the bookish rebel. Bethy is the pretty, feminine, good girl. But their lives kind of change as they grow up. And they're living amongst, you know, Vietnam, Woodstock, free love, women's lib. And it tells how these 2 sisters are going down 2 different paths. I think it sounds really, really interesting. So, and I am still working on Bloomsbury Girls. I like it, but I don't love it. Like, it's not a book where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to read this book. I'm like, oh, well, it's not bad. I kind of like it. So I'll just keep reading it to see what happens. So this is my TBR. And I am also working on my library's adult summer reading challenge. And if you'd seen any of my other video where I talked about this, some of the boxes on the bingo sheet have nothing to do with reading, which I don't know. It would be nice if it was connected to reading, like watch an adventure movie. I would have loved that to be read an adventure book. Or read an adventure book that was an adventure movie. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to get more people to participate, so they figure they'll throw in, like, watch a movie. What was the other one that I thought? Learn about my neighborhood. I don't know. I would love them to read a historical or a nonfiction book about our town, and just have, like, if I was a librarian, I would have like a separate section of books about like our area, like New York. But anyway, the things that I have done so far, I have read outside my home. I have experienced nature. If you've seen my shorts, I've gone hiking. I have Confession Club, which was a main character over 40. So I don't know about this one. I need to recommend a book, which I could do very easily. Yeah, so I'm still working on my summer reading challenge. So that is, oh, how could I forget this? This is my pool book. I'm reading The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood while I'm floating around my pool, because, I mean, it's seen better days. It doesn't really matter if it gets a little damp from my fingers. I got this at a free little library. I loved this book. No, I loved the movie. I think I read this book many moons ago, but as I'm reading it, some things are starting to come back. Like, oh yeah, I remember that part. But anyway, that's what I'm reading so far. So, I'm going to go enjoy the day and come along. Hello everybody, I'm back. And I am reading The Blue Zone. So I wanted to talk a minute about that's not it, is it? I wanted to talk a minute about this book. And I got mine on my Kindle. It's a book called The Blue Zones, 9 Lessons for Living Longer from the People Who Have Lived the Longest. It's by Dan Buettner. And basically he is a researcher. He goes and he examines and tries to find correlation and things that are the same between all of the different blue zones in the world. Some of the findings he has found overlap. Most of it is common sense, but the chapters, the places that he visits, so the first one is just what does living longer mean? Let me find the chapter titles. And then we've got the truth about living longer. He goes to Sardinia, which is the Sardinian blue zone, the blue zone in Okinawa, the blue zone in America, which is Loma Linda, California, the Costa Rican blue zone, Greek, and then your personal blue zone. Now, I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still on chapter 5, discovering the Costa Rican's blue zone. These centenarians are just amazing. The book is really good. If you like nonfiction and you're interested in health and wellness and food and longevity and aging, I would suggest picking up this book. I believe there's some kind of workbook too, and I have never been a big workbook person from books that I read, but they do have it available at my public library, like an e-book of it. So I want to borrow it and just see if it is a book that if I bought it, I would actually write in it and do it. But interesting book. So I'm going to sit and read. I have my coffee. I just love this pretty little mug. It's a Lily Pulitzer mug. I think it came from my FabFitFun box years ago. But I don't know. It's just a little fancy. So I'm going to read and survive in the heat by staying inside a little bit today and reading. Okay, we are off on a little free library adventure. No, I mean little adventure. We're just gonna go hit up a little free library. It's in a park it's a distance away, but it's a nice day. I figured I'd take a ride out there. And the library at this park is actually on one of the Finger Lakes. If it is not too crowded, I'm gonna go sit and read. So I'll take my Yaya book, but if it's crowded, I'm not. I get too distracted. I sit and daydream and watch people, and yeah. And it's too hot to sit in my car. So my plan is to do that and maybe swing by the Goodwill and see if there are any good books at the Goodwill that I want to buy. I don't know. I feel like, because I don't have my library at home set up, I've always tried to keep the books that I own to a minimum, and just like the books that I absolutely love. Like, I don't keep books just to keep books. Like, I don't collect books. I keep books that I know I would like to read again, or they are on a TBR. But in general, if I'm done with the book and it was like, okay, it was okay, I will pass it on because I just don't want that many books. So I'm wondering how many readers are actually like minimalists when it comes to their book collections. I'm wondering. I don't think there's that many. But if you are one, comment below. All right, we're off to the little free library. I am going to leave Ready Player One. My daughter bought this book in the hopes that she would enjoy it. She does not enjoy reading at all. She left this here when she moved out. It's not my genre, And I think my husband's already read it, so off it goes. Okay, so just took a quick walk around the park, and as you can see, the little free library actually had a lot of variety of books. So I actually wound up getting two because I found another book in my car from the last time I went to the little free libraries, and it was a bust. So I got this book called Grief. It is by Winsten. I just kind of really quick checked out the blurb. It's about a woman who's in her 30s, who's a widow suddenly, and she tries to make her life over. And then this book actually sounded cute. Chase the Fun, 100 Days to Discover Fun Right Where You Are. It's by Annie F. Downs, and actually I'm aware of her because I follow Carlos Whitaker on Instagram, and he has gone on tour with Annie F. Downs, but I had no idea who she was or what she wrote. So now I am off to pick up my Walmart order, but I thought that you would enjoy seeing how beautiful this park is. And one of the reasons I do love to live where I live is because there's never a shortage of beautiful places to hike and walk in nature, like that's fairly close to your house. So one of the things that I really love is finding free online classes for art, because besides reading, I like to do art too. I dabble. It's just fun and relaxing. So if you've never heard of it, look up Pigeon Letters. Right now they're having online art week. So tons of free classes every day. Right now I'm going to do this beginner Zentangle patterns, but they have so many. And even if the instruction's over, you should mark the website so that you can, and sign up for their email so that you can get notified the next time that they do a freebie like this. So super fun. I'll share what mine look like when I'm done. So this was fun. This was the Zentangles that we did. This is so cool right here. It was so relaxing. So if you've watched my video on anxiety, okay, this was amazingly relaxing. So if anyone, this is the first time I've ever done like Zentangles, I would really suggest that you look it up because this was super cool. This is the next one that I'm doing. I'm going to do this. It's lettering with an Indian motif, it says. So we're going to try this one. So the past couple of days, I have been unable to put down The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood. It is very, very good. I remember vaguely reading this book before, and it's excellent. Even if you are not a fan of the movie or you've never seen the movie with Sandra Bullock, but she's a favorite actress of mine, so I've watched the movie multiple times. But the book is very well written. It examines like the mother-daughter relationship, the relationship of best friends through the years, childhood trauma, abuse, alcoholism. It touches on it all, and it sounds very melodramatic when I say that, but it's written so well, so character driven. I just love the characters in this book. But I'll do a full wrap up at the end of August, but I'm almost done with this book. I've also been enjoying The Islanders by Meg Mitchell Moore. It takes place on Block Island, so it's 3 characters. One is an author who has had something happen between him and his father. I don't know what yet. Another mom of a teenager. She owns a whoopie pie bakery and her life. And then also a younger mom who's stuck at home, who has a secret job that her husband doesn't know about. And they're all intertwined. And it's very good. I am enjoying the writing style. I've never read anything by Meg Mitchell Moore. I don't know if this is a debut book. Let me see. So Meg Mitchell Moore, oh, no, The Islanders is her 5th novel. So I definitely am going to be looking her up to read some more of her books. But today we are off, my friends and I are off to the Corning Museum of Glass. I'll share some snippets from that, and there is a bookstore in Corning. If I can talk my friends into going, I will be taking some video there too. So let's see what we can do. So before I wrap up this vlog, I had to show you today I went to Goodwill, and I did not film in Goodwill because it was packed with people. And there were so many people around me in the book section, but I did get a couple books. So one of the categories that I wanted to focus on reading in August was a banned book, and I hadn't picked out what banned book I wanted to read yet, but I just happened to see Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred Taylor, and I knew I had heard that this was banned or challenged many times. So I frequently, in 2022, it was on the banned books list for, I think it was the Burbank School District. It's been challenged for its racial slurs, its depictions of racism, profanity. So this is the book that I'm going to be reading for August for my banned book challenge. Then I found this book that I had never heard of by an author I had never heard of. It was Oprah's book club pick. I've liked many of her books that she had picked, but I've also not liked many of the books from her book club. So we'll see. This is called The Reader, and it is by Bernhard Schlink. It's a #1 national bestseller. So it says that it is hailed for its coiled eroticism and the moral claims it makes upon the reader. This mesmerizing novel is a story of love and secrets, horror and compassion unfolding against the haunted landscape of post-war Germany. When he falls ill on his way home from school, 15-year-old Michael Berg is rescued by Hannah, a woman twice his age. In time, she becomes his lover. She enthralls him with her passion, but puzzles him with her odd silences, and then she disappears. Then there's that whole mystery surrounding that. And then I did pick up a Jodi Piccoult book that I have not read yet. It is called Leaving Time, and I thought this sounded interesting. So the last Jodi Piccoult book that I read, it was back in January or February, I think. It was not my favorite book of hers, but this one sounds good. It says, For more than a decade, Jenna Metcalf has never stopped thinking about her mother, Alice, who mysteriously disappeared in the wake of a tragic accident when Jenna was only 3. She does not believe that her mother would have ever abandoned her, so she pores over her mother's journals. She tries to find clues to her disappearance. And then later in life, she gets a psychic and a detective to help her piece together what happened to her mother. I don't know, sounds pretty good. So that is what I got from the Goodwill today. And obviously, probably these two will be on a TBR for September, since I have a lot of books that I'm reading for August. So thanks for joining me in this vlog. I did not get to very many exciting places, but next time, I promise a couple bookstore and more free libraries. So thanks for watching and happy reading.